Hi friends, here's footage of me making a painting. I hope this is fun to see, at least. So, for a start, I should say I'm colorblind, so I'm all the time trying to guess what's happening. It's like having a filter in front of me that forces me to just try to know conceptually what's happening, and that's cool. It's a kind of a problem, but at the same time it's a solution for if I felt I could just be intuitive and never learn how art works. So yeah, I needed to make sense of it, of color, in my head before anything. It's kind of fun. For instance, the three colors that are there, I can see one of them is yellow, but the other two might be orange or green, and I have no idea. I try to balance those colors with the rest of it, like using the tools I have. Maybe I can distinguish some saturation, sometimes not. Sometimes, for example, some brownish stuff can be like yellow or orange in my mind. So yeah, but anyway, I think drawing like all the time is the strength that any visual artist, the best way of getting some universal visual arts strength. It's just drawing and drawing. So for example, this paint, I didn't expect it to be like so light. You can see the paper through the brush hairs, so maybe it will need a couple more of layers over it. Sometimes when this happens, for example, if the paint is good quality and the paper too, it doesn't matter much, because the kind of thing it will do with the white behind is gonna look as high quality. I'm sorry to say this, but it's true. It's like, maybe not the word is not fancy, but cool materials that are made to last for some years. It's good to paint with just school stuff or kids stuff or just generic, and I love doing that. But at the same time, if you do that, you have to be very careful about what is going to happen with the materials. Like, how will they look? You can paint with just anything and raw stuff, and not stuff not meant for art proper, but yeah, you have to see it and see it's working, like with any other thing, I suppose. So yeah, now I just made stuff intuitively. So I think like in this stage I try to think as composing while I'm painting, like right now I'm starting to think it as something I'm composing in a not conscious way, but yeah, now that I'm talking I can see it's conscious. So this more saturated color is gonna have a weight in the whole composition that I need to balance. Those grayy things, or even the yellow being so saturated doesn't have the strength. For me now, it's how I'm feeling it now. Cannot be true, but it doesn't have the heavy strength that those reddish colors are having. So yeah, I usually take care of the shape of the stroke, the shape of the brush isn't showing so much. Here you can see it, and maybe here, and it's fine. It's fine that it appears, but if it appears as a standard thickness all around the painting, it's gonna make the composition more poorer. It's poor because in the sense that there's no dynamic. You can make an artwork with a standard thickness of everything, and that can be fine, but if sometimes I think that if I have the opportunity to make bigger and tinier and thicker and thinner lines and planes and strokes and spots and areas, that will make, it's like having a huge canvas. I'm painting in a pretty little, or like, yeah, it's a little format, but if I could draw tiny also, big and tiny, it's more richer, more stuff happens. If I decided to make a thin drawing, just, that's a thing too, but it's also different. You can get lost in the drawing, and that's cool too. At the same time, that's can be also as not much composition, it's just like texture, and that's good too. It's I think another kind of work of art, that one that is composed, I guess, or more like thought of as a field of different degrees of strength and weight, acting and reacting. I guess, for example, this yellowish area is somehow connected to this one. They have similar directions, and maybe the next thing I would expect in an animation that has this limb and this one would be someone like some shape like this, and it even makes sense. It sounds like I'm just making up bullshit while I paint, and it's true, but in some sense this kind of basic relationships between shapes are like deep inside our heads, and how we perceive images and life and time. I guess there's also some sense of rhythm in painting. You can sense, as I do this, when you see the finished painting, You are not seeing my hand, but you can feel my hand. Sometimes it's clearer, but you can, for example, expect that a painting was made kind of fast or kind of slow according to how it looks. Or you can see, I fucking hate green. I don't know why I even put so much green in my color thing, the place where I make the colors. I should get other colors. Okay, it's gonna be okay. Now this is an interesting color. It looks like shit really, but it gives some place to not look at. No, I think it's right. I could, like, I can fight a color I don't like a lot, maybe doing this or drawing over it. I think I'm ready now to go to a stage of more like drawing over these. So I could do that with these acrylic paintings. I could also do that with ink, maybe. Maybe I try to do it with ink. This is a thing I wouldn't do too often, but now I did it, so it's fine. I try to deal with everything that I would call a mistake, just jump to the next note, and it's not a great problem. I think I'll try to what I did, and I thought for a second, okay, this is a mistake, was just using this magenta as it is out of the tube, and it shows. But against every color here you can see those magenta areas as the ones that are done with just the color as it comes from the color factory. So that's not great. I mean, you can do it, and if you have an intention, I guess, for some sort of pop art feeling of a printing method where cans of oily magenta ink are part of it. It's not horrible, but in this case I'm painting, so I think I would better make colors and invest some thought and some seconds of my life and visit mentally my training and play or battle with the colors. I think that's a good way to put it.